Happy Sunday. Welcome back to Study the Bible in 1 year. Guess what? Well, two things. Number one, this is the last reading for the book of Ezekiel. We are on November 24th lesson, and it's the last for the book of Ezekiel because this book of Ezekiel was just like forever, like it would never end. But this is our last reading for Ezekiel, and then we're going to go in the book of Daniel. Yeah! I am also so excited to tell you guys about my new book. I have a new book out, but not wasting time being a girlfriend. If you want to be a wife, I will be doing my book release on my Janicehylton channel this morning at 9 a.m. So if you're able to stop on over, come on over there and check it out. You guys are gonna love it. You guys are gonna love it. And as soon as I release it over there, I'll come over here, hang out, and talk to you guys about. But it's a dating book, so So I am so excited. Happy Sunday! Yeah! This is it for Book of Ezekiel. Let's go. I'm excited. November 24th. Okay. We are still in the New Testament book of First Peter chapter 2. First Peter chapter 2, beginning at verse 11. Dear friends, I warn you as temporary residents and foreigners to keep away from worldly desires that wage war against your very souls. Be careful. So this is important, right? Stay away, from worldly desires that wage war against your very soul. What is your soul? Your will, intellect, and your emotions. Verse 12, be careful to live properly among your unbelieving neighbors. Then even if they accuse you of doing wrong, they will see your honorable behavior, and they will give honor to God when he judges the world. For the Lord's sake, submit yourself to all human authority, whether the king as the head of state or the president, okay, or the officials he has appointed, for the king has sent them to punish those who do wrong and to honor those who do right. It is God's will that your honorable lives should silence those ignorant people who make foolish accusations against you. For you are free, yet you are God's slave. Now, slave don't mean slave like black people were slaves, okay? But it means servant. I wish they would have used the word servant here. So don't use your freedom as an excuse to do evil. Respect everyone and love the family of believers. Fear God and respect the king. You are to submit. You servants, I'm going to use the word servants, okay? You servants are to submit yourself to your masters or workers, employees, okay? You employees must submit yourselves to your employers with respect. Do what they tell you, not only if they are kind and reasonable, but even if they are cruel. For God is pleased when conscious of his will, you patiently endure just treatment. Of course, you get no credit for being patient if you are beaten for doing wrong. But if you suffer for doing good and endure it patiently, God pleases you. So sometimes you have supervisors that's terrible. I've had about one or two terrible supervisors, but it wasn't too long before God moved them out of the way. But I've been on my job for 15 years. I think it's 15 years. I have had mostly all great supervisors, because that's something I pray for. I want my supervisor to be great. I want us to be able to get along. I want us to be able to work together, because in my job, you have to work together with the supervisor, okay? And I'm blessed. I have an excellent supervisor now, and but I've had one or two that wasn't so good, but it wasn't too long before God moved them, okay? Verse 21 of First Peter 2, for God called you to do good, even if it means suffering, just as Christ suffered for you. He is your example, and you must follow in his footsteps. I forgot to mention my books over on Amazon. Do not forget, my new book is also over there. So if you happen to run on over there, you will see it. But book release is going to be on my channel today at 9 o'clock, on my Janicehylton channel at 9, okay? So come on by. Verse 22, 1 Peter 2, he never sinned. This is Jesus, nor ever deceived anyone. He did not retaliate when he was insulted, nor threaten revenge when he suffered. He left his case in the hands of God, who always judge fairly. He personally carried our sins in his body on the cross so that we can be dead to sin and live for what is right. By his wounds you are healed. So dead to sin mean you're not going to sin. Okay, let's take thievery for example. I'm dead to being a thief. I'm not a thief. I've never been a thief. I don't steal. I will never steal. You can leave all your money right here. It's when you come back, it's going to be right here. Okay, I'm dead to that. But there might be something else that I'm not dead to, that is my weakest link. Okay, everybody, you need to know what your weakest link is. Verse 25, once you were like sheep who wandered away, but now you have turned to your shepherd, the guardian of your souls. First Peter chapter 3. In the same way, you wives must accept the authority of your husbands. And this is why it's important to choose the right husband. Choose right. If you choose wrong, don't matter what you do, it's never going to be right. Accept the authority of your husband. See, a lot of women marry men you don't respect, you don't honor, you don't even like him, and then you try. It's a struggle. You don't want that. Then even if someone refuses to obey the good news, your godly lives will speak to them without any words. They will be won over by observing your pure and reverent lives. Don't be concerned about the outward beauty of fancy hairstyles, expensive jewelry, or beautiful clothes. So now people have said, oh, you shouldn't fix up your hair. You shouldn't wear jewelry. Okay, well, if you are going to say we shouldn't have fancy hairstyle, we shouldn't have nice jewelry, how about clothes? Can we go without clothes? So they want you to go without fancy hairstyles and jewelry. So by the same account, we should go about clothes, because that's not what he's talking about. He's not saying don't fix up your hair, don't wear nice jewelry, and don't wear nice clothes. He is saying those are not the things you are to use, ladies, to, I don't want to say win your husband over, because you should have already won him over. But when you are married, it's not only that. It's your submission, it's your honor, it's your respect of your husband. But let me tell you, if you do not choose a husband you can respect and honor and adore, forget it. Verse 3 of 1 Peter 3, you should clothe yourself instead, here it is, with the beauty that comes from within, the unfading beauty of gentle and quiet spirit, which is so precious to God. This is how the holy woman of old made themselves beautiful. Now, all of y'all wives walking around raggedy, dusty t-shirt, funky, and believe now because you're married, it's okay for you to walk around funky and stink. Let me tell you, you better fix yourself up, because men are visual. Do you see how I fix myself up? I walk around my house like this all day. I get up every morning, I take my shower, I spray my perfume, I use good smelling body wash. My husband came in there while I was taking the shower. He was like, "Ooh, that smells good. Can I get in with you?" I comb my hair. I put little things on my hair. Those of us who have natural hair, you know we got to go a whole lot extra to fix up your hair. Put some lip gloss on. Put some nice, clean, good smelling clothes on, because you got somebody at home you need to keep his attention and his eyes on you. This is how the holy women of old made themselves beautiful. They put their trust in God and accepted the authority of their husbands. But they didn't walk around funky, stink, and dusty, big old, dusty, dingy t-shirt, okay? For instance, Sarah obeyed her husband, Abraham, and called him master. You are your daughters, then you do what is right without fear of what your husband might. And what they said about Sarah was beautiful. She was so beautiful that the king wanted to marry her. Verse 7, 1 Peter 3, verse 8, in the same way, you husband must give honor to your wives. Treat your wife with understanding as you live together. How many of y'all know if you marry wrong, he will not treat you with understanding? Granted, all marriages go through, me, yours, every marriage. Ain't no perfect marriage. I mean, the marriage between Christ and the church is not even perfect. He is perfect, but the church is not. She may be weaker than you are, but she is your equal partner in God's gift of new life. Hello, husbands that think your wife is lesser than you. Treat her as you should, so your prayers will not be hindered. A lot of y'all husbands praying and your prayers are not being answered because you treat your wife like crap, okay? Come on, flip on over to Ezekiel, because I got a busy day today, okay? Ezekiel 47. We're done. Ezekiel 47, in my vision, the man brought me back to the entrance of the temple. This is still Ezekiel having a vision, okay? There I saw a stream flowing east from beneath the door of the temple and passing to the right of the altar on the south side. The man brought me outside the wall through the north gateway and led me around to the eastern entrance. Then I could see the water flowing out through the south side of the east gateway. Measuring as he went, he took me along the stream for 1,750 feet and then led me across. The water was up to my ankles. He measured off another 1,750 feet and led me across. This time the water was up to my knees. After another 1,750 feet, it was up to my waist. Then he measured another 1,750 feet, and the river was so deep to walk across. It was deep enough to swim in, but too deep to walk through. He asked me, have you been watching, son of man? Then he led me back along the riverbank. When I returned, I was surprised by the sight of many trees growing on both sides of the river. Then he said to me, this river flows east through the desert into the valley of the Dead Sea. The waters of this stream will make the salty waters of the Dead Sea fresh and pure. There will be swarms of living things wherever the water of this river flows. Fish will abound in the Dead Sea, for its waters will become fresh, like will flourish. Life will flourish wherever this water flows. Fishermen will stand along the shores of the Dead Sea all the way from Engedi. The shores will be covered with nets drying in the sun. Fish of every kind will fill the Dead Sea, just as they fill the Mediterranean. But the marshes and swamps will not be purified. They will still be salty. Fruit trees of all kinds will grow along both rivers sides of the river. The leaves of the trees will never turn brown and fall. Then there will always be fruit on their branches. There will be new crop every month, for they are watered by the river flowing from the temple. The fruit will be for food and the leaves for healing. Verse 13 of Ezekiel 47, this is what the sovereign Lord says: divide the land in this way for the 12 tribes of Israel. The descendants of Joseph will be given 2 shares of land. Otherwise, each tribe will receive an equal share. I took a solemn oath and swore that I would give this land to your ancestors, and it will come to you as your possession. Who remember why the tribe of Joseph got two shares, 2 portion? Because the Levites didn't get a portion. Okay, God had a special place for them. So now it's the tribe of Joseph is divided into 2, Ephraim and Manasseh. Come on, somebody. Or you've been studying, haven't you? These are the boundaries, verse 15 of Ezekiel chapter 47. These are the boundaries of the land. The northern border will run from the Mediterranean to Shethlon, then on through Lebahath to Zidah. Then it will run to Berothan and Sibrim, which are on the border between Damascus and Hamath, and finally to Hazar on the border of Haran. So the northern border will run from the Mediterranean to Hazarian on the border side, Hamath to the north of Damascus to the south. The eastern border starts at a point between Haran and Damascus and runs south along the Jordan River between Israel and Gilead past the Dead Sea. And as far as south of as Tamar, this will be the eastern border. The The southern border will go west from Tamar to the waters of Meribah at Kadesh, and then follow to the course of the brook of Egypt to the Mediterranean. This will be the southern border. On the west side, the Mediterranean itself will be your border from the southern border to the point of where the northern border begins, opposite Lebeth Hamath. Divide the land with these boundaries. Excuse me, among the tribes of Israel. Distribute the lands as an allotment for yourselves and for the foreigners who have joined you and are raising their families among you. They will be like native born Israelites to you and will receive an allotment among the tribes. These foreigners are to be given land within the territory of the tribe with whom they now live, the sovereign Lord has spoken. So each tribe who has strangers living within them had to give them non-Israelites, they had to get a portion of the land too. Chapter 48, this is it, y'all. Ezekiel 48, shout, 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 shout. Here is the list of the tribes of Israel and the territory each till they receive. The territory of Dan is the extreme north. Its boundaries line follows Hethlon road to Lebahath, and then runs on to Hazanian on the border of Damascus. You know, some of these names are missing them. And Hamath to the north. Dan's territory extend all the way across the land of Israel from east to west. Asher's territories lie south of Dan's and also extend from east to west. Naphtali's land lies south of Asher, also extending from east to west. Then comes Manasseh, south of Naphtali, and his territory also extends from east to west. So Manasseh is the tribe of Joseph, okay? South of Manasseh is Ephraim, and Ephraim is also from this tribe of Joseph. And then Reuben, and then Judah, all of those boundaries extend from the east. So you see, God was very specific about who gets what. Verse 8, Ezekiel 40, south of Judah is the land set aside for a special purpose. It will be 8¼ miles wide and will extend as far east and west as the tribal territories, with the temple at the area set aside for the Lord's temple will be 8⅓ miles long and 6⅓ miles down. We're going to skip down to verse 13 because we already read the land allotted to the Levites. Let me go back. Verse 11. Let me go back. Verse 10. For the priests, there will be strip of land measuring 8¾ miles long with the Lord's temple at the center. This area is also aside for the ordained priests, the descendants of Zadok, who served me faithfully and did not go astray from the people of Israel and the rest of the Levites. So you see, God now took the priesthood from the Levites, that was their born right, to Zadok, because Zadok was faithful. Okay, so now the priest's hand had changed over. Verse 12, it will be their special portion when the land is distributed, the most sacred land of all. Next to the priest's territory will lie the land where the other Levites will live. So God gave them the best of the land, not the worst, because they're serving him. They should get the best. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me clear my nostrils. God gave his people the best, not the worst. Hello, saints. You know, you give God what's left over. Verse 13, the land allotted to the Levites will be the same size and shape as that belonging to the priests. So remember, the Levites, they couldn't go before God and be high priests, but they could still serve in the temple. None of this special land may ever be sold or traded or used by others, for it belongs to the Lord. Okay, let's skip. We're going to skip verse 15 to verse 18. It's basically telling us the city will measure that, so on and so forth, and all the measurements and stuff. Verse 21, the areas that remain to the east and to the west of the sacred lands and the city will belong to the prince. Each of these areas will be 8¾ miles, extending in opposite direction to the eastern and western borders of Israel, with the sacred lands and the center of the temple in the center. So the prince lands will include everything between the territories allotted to Judah and Benjamin, except for the area set aside for the sacred lands and the city. These are the territories allotted to the rest of the tribes. Benjamin territory lies against south of the prince's land, and it extends across the entire land of Israel from east to west. So we know that Joseph and Benjamin were who? Who was their mama? Rachel. South of Benjamin's territory lies that of Simeon, also extending across the land from east to west. Next is the territory of Issachar, with the same eastern and western borders. So think about us in the United States where we live, right? We live in cities, right? I live in the city of Newark. Okay, so one tribe would be in Newark, and then another tribe would be in East Orange, and then another tribe would be in West Orange, and another tribe would be in South Orange, and another tribe would be in Montclair, and another tribe is in Clifton and Livingston and Jersey City. Okay, so that's how it was broken up. When you hear them say this goes this way, that's what it means. To put it in your mind so you can understand. Think about your cities and all the cities that surround your city. Verse 26. Then comes the territory of Zebulun, which also extends across the land from east to west. The territory of Gad is southwestern of Zebulun. Oh, my nose this morning. And the south border to the east and west. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna read on, but I'm gonna do my nose. Okay. So you see how God made provisions for his people, didn't he? I'm so glad I have this thing now. God made provisions for his people. Everybody knew where they belonged because he's a God of order. Verse 28, the southern border of Gad runs from Tamar to the waters of Meribah at Kadesh and then follows the brooks of Egypt to the Mediterranean. These are the allotments that will be set aside for each tribe's exclusive possession. I, the sovereign Lord, has spoken it. Verse 30 of Ezekiel 48. This is it. These will be the exits to the city. On the north wall, which is 1.5 miles long, there will be 3 gates, each one named after a tribe of Israel. The first will be named for Reuben, the second for Judah, and the third for Levi. On the east side also will be named for Joseph, Benjamin, and Dan. The south side also Simeon, Issachar, and Zebulun. And on the west wall, the gates will be named Gad, Asher, and Naphtali. Verse 35 of Ezekiel 48. The distance around the city will be 6 miles. And from the day the name of the city will be the Lord is there. Ooh! Shout, y'all, shout. The Lord is there. Flip on over to Psalm 119, Psalm 119. Tomorrow, I'm so excited, I might come back today and do a new Bible reading because read the book of Daniel. I absolutely love the book of Daniel. I absolutely love the book of Daniel. Okay. Oops. Excuse me. Psalm 119, verse 49. Remember your promise to me. It is my only hope. Your promise revives me. It comforts me in all the troubles. The proud hold me in utter contempt, but I do not turn from your instructions. I meditate on your age-old regulations, O Lord. They comfort me. I become furious with the wicked because they reject your instructions. Your decrees have been the theme of my songs wherever I have lived. I reflect at night on who you are, O Lord. Therefore, I obey your instructions. This is how I spend my life, obeying your commandments. Okay? So you see, he was very specific there. I live my life by obeying your commandments. Lord, you are mine. I promise to obey your word. With all my heart, I want your blessing. Be merciful as you promise. I ponder the direction of my life and I turn to follow your laws. I will hurry without delay to obey your commands. Evil people try to drag me into sin, but I am firmly anchored to your instructions. I rise at midnight to thank you for your just regulations. I am a friend to anyone who fears you, anyone who obeys your commandments. O Lord, your unfailing love fills the earth. Teach me your decrees. Proverbs 28:12. When the godly succeed, everyone is glad. When the wicked take charge, the people go hiding. People who conceal their sin will not prosper, but if they confess and turn from them, they will receive mercy. Okay? So confess it. Turn away means stop. That's it. That's it. We're done with the book of Ezekiel. Join me later. I'm going to come back. Maybe I'm going to hope to come back, talk about my new book a little bit. Shine like a diamond. Shine like a diamond. I love you. I love you. My other books are on Amazon in the meantime. My new book is over there too if you get a chance to go over there. But I'll be going live at 9 on my other channel. I love you. Got to go.